Joyous Kwanzaa. Hello, my name is Garee the Rainbow. That's Garee the Rainbow. You can find me on Garee the Rainbow on Facebook, facebook.com/Garee the Rainbow, Instagram as instagram.com/Garee the Rainbow, and also on Twitter, twitter.com/Garee the Rainbow. Key honey. What's the key? That's not easy. Joyous Kwanzaa to all. Welcome to the 2020 Kwanzaa celebration hosted by me, Garee the Rainbow, aka Garee. This is my first year celebrating Kwanzaa. Previously, I've been celebrating Kwanzaa every year to have a commitment and a reflection to my African American slash Black diaspora identity. However, I was recently introduced to Kwanzaa a couple weeks ago from a mutual friend of mine. After doing the research, I felt like Kwanzaa was more apropos for me in my life existence in terms of being both Black, identified, African American specifically, and being a member of the LGBTQIA community. As both an openly Black male and an openly queer male, I feel like Kwanzaa fits me better. And I ask for you all to join in a celebration of Kwanzaa, whether if you identify as Black LGBTQIA or not. We're open and we're inclusive to everyone learning more about this celebration. And I would like to go to kuchukwanzaa.com. That's KUCHUKwanzaa.com for more information. And I'm going to be speaking from that website specifically in terms of learning more about Kuchu Kwanzaa and introducing it to you all today. Kuchu Kwanzaa was created in December 2009 by the late Marcus White and the late Louis Graham, as pictured here. The two self-identified Black gay men at the time felt isolated from the traditional holiday season and wanted to find a way to center the historical contributions and legacies of Black, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, etc. folks. Kwanzaa was the starting point for creating this holiday. The founders did not want to create a religious holiday, but instead something that spoke to the needs of our communities. I was recently introduced to this holiday, like I said before, from my friend, and my friend had led me to Joshua H. Jenkins. Joshua Henry Jenkins, who resides in Washington, D.C., was close friends with both Marcus White and Louis Graham. And they were both pivotal in his life and their joint creation of Kuchu Kwanzaa in 2009. Mark, Joshua H. Jenkins is seeking to preserve this holiday, and he repurposed the website of the important work that Marcus and Lewis did during the specific years of 2009 through 2011. Kuchu Kwanzaa is meant to be an adaptable framework for Black queer identifying folks to use during the Kwanzaa season as a way to affirm, celebrate, and anchor ourselves in the unique identities and experiences we share, to reflect, to grow, and to see one another. See you, brothers, sisters, and siblings. The development of Kuchu Kwanzaa was a blip on the radar of two lives that created rich, vital, powerful, career-defining work, but the preservation of this one piece of their lives is one of the many ways Joshua H. Jenkins hopes to ensure their names live on. Mr. Jenkins, thank you so much for sharing the work of our founders, Marcus White and Louis Graham, about Kuchu Kwanzaa. As pictured here, I just want to take a moment to highlight the two. Marcus R. White, born 1988, Sunset this year, 2020. He's a choreographer, a dancer, and a professor. Next, I would like to highlight the other founder, Louis F. Graham. born 1982, sunset 2019. He was a scholar, a professor, and a researcher. If you would like to give to the Kuchu Kwanzaa movement, please give an honor to the Audre Lorde Project. Now we're going to talk about the Kuchu Kwanzaa celebration. Kuchu Kwanzaa is a 7-day celebration and expression of Black LGBTQIA cultural principles, values, and ideals. As stated before, this specific celebration was the creation of Marcus R. White and Louis F. Grant. Kuchu Kwanzaa is a time to commemorate our rich history and societal contributions, as well to observe our heritage and fellowship together in love and support within our communities. Kuchu Kwanzaa is in large part based on the traditional Kwanzaa holiday, but seek to infuse queer ideology, principles, and values to establish a safe space for Black LGBTQIA folks to celebrate our unique culture, our history, and contributions. In spirit of inclusivity, we invite anyone who shares the core principles of Kuchu Kwanzaa to celebrate it. Like traditional Kwanzaa, Kuchu Kwanzaa is observed from December 26th to January 1st each year and feature activities such as candle lighting and pouring of libations and accumulating in a feast and gift giving. For this year's Kuchu Kwanzaa, you see I have set up my altar here. It pays homage to our culture both through the lens of Blackness and through the lens of queerness, LGBTQIA-ness. The namesake, Kuchu, let's talk about that. Kuchu is an East African word for LGBTQIA identifying folks, coined by East African gays and lesbians, rejecting names that were given to them and opting instead to name themselves. Since Kwanzaa is an East African word from the language of Swahili, it was deemed appropriate to choose an East African word representing sexual minorities. Also, the K in Kwanzaa, the K was changed to a Q to represent queer infusing of the American idea into an African heritage, in part characterizing the Black gay intersection. So the namesake of Kuchu and how Kuchu Kwanzaa came to be for naming. The 9 principles. So let's talk about those. The traditional Kwanzaa celebrates Nguzo Saba Swahili for 7 principles. However, the founders of Kuchu Kwanzaa felt as though that there were issues specifically unique to Black LGBTQIA communities that were not addressed in the original Kwanzaa. More so, these are issues that are more relevant to a 21st century African American family, regardless of their sexual behavior or gender identity that we have decided to rename and make more applicable to our lives. The Nguzo Tisa Swahili for 9 principles are a fusion of communitarian African and LGBTQIA philosophy consistent of best of Black LGBTQIA thought and practice in the constant exchange within the world. Now we're going to talk about the symbols of Kuchu Kwanzaa. Some of the symbols are here on my altar. One thing I do want to talk about first is uh, this is called a kinara, this base here that holds the candles, and the 7 candles is called the Mishuma Saba, which is the 7 candles. However, in Kwanzaa, they celebrate it with red, black, and then green. However, with Kuchu Kwanzaa, the candles are celebrated in the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and purple. For this year's celebration, which is my initial year celebrating Kuchu Kwanzaa here in 2020, I did not have enough time to obtain rainbow candles for this year's celebration. So as an alternative, I'm going to be still lighting the traditional Kwanzaa candles, but I will be highlighting the principles of Kuchu Kwanzaa instead. Next thing on my altar are matunda, where the various fruits. Fruits is symbolic to the crops that are typically taken from Kwanzaa, but fruits is also a double entendre symbolic to the LGBTQ community, QIA community. A lot of people call us fruits. Fruity. Maji water. I don't have any water today, but coming up, I show you Maji in terms of how we celebrate day one. With Maji is usually put in the Kikombe Cha Umoja, which is the unity cup. Here, I don't have the water in it right now because I don't want to ruin my altar, and so I will be demonstrating the libation of water later on. Also is the bandera, which is the flag. And so multiple flags here, or so the main flag here is the rainbow flag, as you see in the colors of the rainbow flag. In addition to that, I also have the Pan-African Pride flag here, as you can see of the colors of red, black, and green as well too. And also over here, I do have my pride flag as well too, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And there's an inclusive pride flag, the top part here has the triangle for black and brown identities and trans identities as well. The Niguzo Tisa, meaning the nine principles, and then I have the poster of the nine right here. Listed here. Can't probably see on the screen right now because of the glare and small font. But I have the nine principles listed here. In addition to that, I also have some other items on my altar that are symbolic of either blackness and or LGBTQIA-ness. One thing I wanted to talk about as well too is there's another symbol I forgot to talk about here. It's the Kupanda. Again, I'm still learning. Kupanda, which is plant, the greenery I have here. It's hard to get really nice live plants this time of year in late December in northern Colorado. So I have my unfortunately fake plants that it looks like. It's nice and blooming right now. The last item on my altar here are the gifts, the zawadi, or symbols of talents and contributions of our community, etc., literature, art, crafts, etc. So I put in some things, like I said, representative of our community, some things that help me identify as Black and or LGBTQIA. So I have my rainbow pride bracelets here. Then I also have my beaded bracelets here, Pan-African focused. Also have my beads here, my Fight the Power Fist. In addition to that, the gifts I also have created is I crocheted this plant holder in the colors of the candles for in addition to that, I did add some rainbow light here, string lights here instead, because since I didn't have the red rainbow candles for this year, I thought I would accent the light in some other way. However, the altar can change from year to year, and so this is my first year of doing the altar. In addition, I want to highlight some buttons here that I have here, some buttons that focuses on Black Pride, and this one actually focuses on the intersectionality of Black Pride. In addition, I just want to talk about some of the things I'm personally wearing today. I'm wearing the Black Power sweatshirt with a rainbow shell necklace and a rainbow printed hat. So the nine principles are umoja, this is unity, to respect, hold reverence for, and to recognize our natural and innate harmony in accord with Mother Earth, our environment, and each other. The second principle is imani, which stands for faith, to believe with all of our heart in divine and energetic realms beyond our physical world. The third principle is afya, which stands for health, to promote and protect our individual and collective well-being and to prevent and treat infection, disease, and illness in our communities. The next principle is Nayumba, which is house, to invest time, energy, and resources in building, maintaining, and nourishing relationships with family, friends, and loved ones. The next principle is Ilumu, which is education, to strive for the highest level of formal and informal educational attainment and vast acquisition of authentic experience, and the realization of and pursuit to fulfill our life's purpose. Our next one is NIA, which stands for purpose, to pursue the fulfillment of our life's purpose through career development, progression of our personal work, and contributions to communal productivity. The next one is Kumba, which stands for creativity, to foster, facilitate, and support the arts and innovation in order to leave our communities more beautiful than we inherited them, to share and pass on our cultural attitudes and beliefs, and to provide social commentary. The next one is Dihi Chuki, which stands for against hate, to acknowledge parallels in oppression, repression, and subjection, and exert a social justice orientation in the struggle against any oppression of any kind. Again, let me repeat that. To acknowledge parallels in oppression, repression, in a subjugation, and to exert a social justice orientation in the struggle against any oppression of any kind. Ooh, that was a tongue twister here. And the last principle is I practice this one by the way, y'all. Kisiasa utambulisho, which is politicized identities. To live out loud with public displays or signifiers of our identities in honor of those who have come before us and paid the price for our ability to do so, and at our responsibility to provide a more just society for those coming after us. These are the 9 principles of Kuchu Kwanzaa. I need to practice on my Swahili pronunciation. I did try to as much as possible before today's recording of the celebration, but we are human, we all make mistakes. So those are the 9 principles. Now we're going to move on to talking about the first principle for the first and second principle for today. The first and second principles are Umoja, which stands for unity, and Imani, which stands for faith. Um, those we're going to connect with Mother Earth and go outside and connect there. We're going to rejoin back inside here after we're done with our celebration for principles 1 and 2 on day one. Coming to you from this Saturday, December 26th in northern Colorado. Outside it's currently about 56 degrees, completely sunny. As you can see, I'm squinting because it's very warm out for late December in northern Colorado. But I would like to go ahead and get started off with Siku Moja. Today's the first day of Kuchu Kwanzaa, which means plant the seed. And so Tigani, which is Swahili for what's the tea. And today we're going to be talking about 2 principles. We're going to be talking about Umoja and Imani, which is unity and faith. And today the symbol is the Makaka mat, and today the candle is green light, which stands for life, harmony, and nature. Traditionally, day one of Kuchu Kwanzaa is observed either on the evening of December 25th or the morning of December 26th. We celebrate the 2 of the 9 principles on the first day. Today's principles ask us to reflect on those who have passed and have contributed to our communities. Through these libations, we are calling out the names of our fallen and the great. We drink water, maji, got my maji right here, to symbolize our unity in the communal experience and serve as a physical manifestation of our reflection of our ancestors. Please accommodate for your specific needs. And today is also designed to observe our connection with the natural world and how we live as a community within it. So, how can you observe today? You can plant a seed, literally or figuratively, for the year. Meditate, pray, quiet reflection to maintain a humble attitude throughout the day towards our neighbors. Attend a religious or spiritual service. practice being silent in observance of those fallen, fasting, food, alcohol, technology, etc., go to the park and enjoy the environment, or recycle. But today's purpose, I was reading from the website from kuchukwanzaa.com. So this is where I got all the information. This is my first year, 2020, celebrating Kuchu Kwanzaa, and this is day one for me. So how I, Gary the Rainbow, is paying honor to this day. I decided to come out to the park. As you can see here, it's nice and warm. As I was saying before, I'm just literally sitting out here right by the river, and you can probably hear the ducks behind me getting mad every time a biker go by and getting too close to their nest and everything. But I wanted to be outside today because I felt like almost 60 degrees in late December in northern Colorado. I felt like it was a sign for 2020 to continue with Kuchu Kwanzaa and to be able to celebrate in an authentic way. 2020 has been a hard, troubling year for a lot of people, especially a lot of folks who identify as Black for the African diaspora and us who are also identify from the LGBTQIA diaspora as well too, and that intersectionality of both. And so, as someone who both identify as a queer cis male and as a black male, it's important for me to switch from Kwanzaa to Kucha Kwanzaa because I feel like Kucha Kwanzaa is more inclusive to all the identities I possess, both as being someone of African descent, African American specifically, and someone who is LGBTQIA identified, specifically Q of the queer. And so I decided to come outside to the park and enjoy the environment. It's nice out today. Practice being silent in observance of those fallen. Well, yes and no. I'm going to be quiet, but I'm not going to be quiet. So today I brought a list with me of individuals, Black LGBTQ individuals who has since passed, and I wanted to pay respect to them. And so, um, again, please excuse me for mispronunciation of names and words. I tried my best. Even as an academic, I do have troubles with words at times, like any other individual. So I would try my best. And so, after I read about each individual, I'm going to take a sip of water, and then I'm going to have a moment of silence for them. First person I want to talk about today is Gladys Bentley, born 1907 and Sunset 1960. Bentley was a gender-bending performer during the Harlem Renaissance. Donning a top hat and tuxedo, Bentley would sing the blues in Harlem establishments like the Clam House and the Ubangi Club. According to the belated obituary published in 2019, the New York Times said Bentley, who died in 1960 at the age of 52, was Harlem's most famous lesbian in the 1930s and among the best known black entertainers in the United States of America. So, a moment of silence for Gladys Bentley. The next individual I'd like to highlight is Bayard Rustin. Bayard was born in 1912 and his sunset was 1987. Rustin was an LGBTQ and civil rights activist, best known for being a key advisor to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He organized the 1963 March on Washington and was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor, in 2013 for his activism. In 2020, Governor Gavin Newsom pardoned Rustin for his arrest in 1953 when he was in Los found having sex with two men in a parked car in Pasadena. Rustin served 50 days in Los Angeles County Jail and had to register as a sex offender. In pardoning Rustin, Newsom noted how LGBTQ people were unjustly punished for their sexuality by U.S. law enforcement at the time of Rustin's arrest. Moment of silence for Bayard Rustin. Next person I want to go on to, her name is Storme de Larverie. Not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Delarv as in Victor, Erie. She was born in 1920, and her sunset was 2014. A biracial butch lesbian, De LaVarley was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and was always a performer. As a teenager, she joined the Ringling Brothers Circus, where she rode jumping horses.
Then from 1955 to 1969, DeLarverie toured the Black theater circuit as the MC and the only drag king of the Jewel Box Review, the first racially integrated drag review in North America. He worked as a bouncer for several lesbian bars in New York City in the 1980s and 1990s and held a number of leadership positions in the Stonewall Veterans Association. DeLarverie also served the community as a volunteer street patrol worker and as a result was called the, quote, guardian of lesbians in the village, end quote. Beyond her LGBTQ activism, DeLarverie also organized and performed as fundraisers for women who suffer from domestic violence and their children. A moment of silence for Storme DeLarverie. James Baldwin, a writer and social critic, Baldwin is perhaps the most best known for his 1955 collection of essays, Notes of a Native Son, and his groundbreaking 1956 novel titled Giovanni's Room, which depicts themes of homosexuality and bisexuality. The novel stood out among literary critics because it features all white characters, unlike the civil rights activists' other novels which centered the experiences of black people. Baldwin spent a majority of his literary and activist career educating others about Black and queer identity, as he did during his famous lecture titled Race, Racism, and the Gay Community at a meeting of the New York chapter of Black and White Men Together, now known as Men of All Colors Together, in 1982. A moment of silence for James Baldwin. The next person I'd like to highlight is Alvin Ailey, born 1931, sunset 1989. Ali was a choreographer who founded the Allen Ivy American Dance companies globally in 1958. His signature work, including Cry and Revelations, continued to be performed all over the world. In 2014, Ali will posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom for his influential work in bringing dance to underserved communities. A moment of silence for Alan Ailey. The next person I'd like to highlight is Audre Lorde, born 1934 and sunset 1992. Lorde, a self-described black lesbian feminist mother, poet, warrior, made lasting contributions in the fields of feminist theory, critical race studies, and queer theory through her pedagogy and writing. Among her most notable works are Coal, 1976, The Black Unicorn, 1978, The Cancer Journals, 1980, and Zami, A New Spelling of My Name in 1982. Audre Lorde says, and I quote, I write for those women who do not speak, for those who do not have a voice because they were so terrified, because we are taught to respect fear more than ourselves. We have been taught that silence will save us, but it won't, end quote. Moment of silence for Audre Lorde. The next person is Ernestine Eckstein, born 1941, sunset 1992. Eckstein was a leader in the New York chapter of Daughters of Bilitis, a, the first lesbian civil and political rights organization in the United States of America. She attended annual reminder picket protests and was frequently one of the only women and only black women at early LGBT rights protests. Eckstein was also an early activist in the black feminist movements of the 1970s and was involved in the organization called Black Women Organized for Action. According to historians, she viewed the right for civil rights and LGBTQ rights as intrinsically linked. A moment of silence for Ernestine Eckstein. The next person I would like to highlight is Barbara Jordan, born 1936, sunset 1996. Jordan, a civil rights leader and attorney, became the first African American elected to the Texas Senate in 1966 and the first woman and first African American elected to Congress from Texas in 1972. Jordan was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Bill Clinton in 1994 for her work as a political trailblazer. While Jordan never explicitly acknowledged her sexual orientation in public, she was open about her life partner of nearly 30 years, Nancy Earl. Moment of silence for Barbara Jordan. Marsha P. Johnson, born 1945, sunset 1992. Marsha P. Johnson, who would cheekily tell people the P stood for Pay It No Mind, was an outspoken transgender rights activist and is reported to be one of the central figures of the historic Stonewall Uprising of 1969. Along with fellow trans activist Sylvia Rivera, Marsha P. Johnson helped form the Street Transgender Action Revolutionaries, or STAR, STAR, a radical political organization that provided housing and other forms of support to homeless queer youth and sex workers in Manhattan. She also performed with other drag performance troupe called Hot Peaches from 1972 through the 1990s and was an AIDS activist with the AIDS Coalition to Unleash Power, or ACT UP, ACT space UP. Moment of silence for Marsha P. Johnson. Last person on our list I like to highlight, but not the least, is Willi Ninja. The reason why I would like to highlight Willi Ninja, I am also known as Garee, a GQ Ninja, with the legendary iconic House of Ninja, the USA Southwest chapter in Colorado here. So, Willi Ninja, born 1961 and sunset 2006. Willi Ninja was a dancer, choreographer, and the grandfather of Vogue. I repeat, the grandfather of Vogue, the dance style that he helped propel to the national stage. Voguing, characterized by angular body movements and exaggerated runway poses, was introduced to the public in the award winning 1990 documentary called Paris is Burning, which Willi Ninja appeared in and was popularized by Madonna's 1990 hit song Vogue. A moment of silence for Willi Ninja and all of the ninjas who have fallen before us in our iconic House of Ninja. That was the list of Black LGBTQIA trailblazers I would like to highlight today. I would like to note that this list is not exhaustive, meaning that there's a lot more individuals who deserve to be on this list. As a matter of time and conciseness, I picked the individuals I felt like that resonated more to me and more to us here in the United States of America living as Black LGBTQIA folks. So once again, day one, Siku Moja, first day, which is plant the seed. And hopefully I planted the seed of knowledge about these individuals. Please take the time to go look up more Black LGBT pioneer and trailblazers, the ones from the past who have since been fallen. And then also there's some people who are living nowadays as well too. And we want to give them our support. And in terms of unity and faith, I have faith that there will be more unity within the Black LGBTQ community because of reasons that I'm not going to get into. We have a lot of issues, both from being marginalized from our racial identity and also marginalization, both from our sexual identity, our sexual orientation, and gender expression. And so, because of these intersectionalities of oppression, it leads to a more defragment the community. And I hope that this can be the beginning to the continuing building of our community as a whole. This is not the first step of building our community, and this is not the last step. I'm just adding a step, and I'm just contributing as much as I can to helping us out and our people. Again, my name is Gary the Rainbow, and I am here celebrating Kuchu Kwanzaa Day 1. And Tigani, which is what's the T, and the T was, which is God honoring some of our Black LGBTQ trailblazers and pioneers. And so, thank you for joining me outside here in Northern Colorado on this beautiful day.
Welcome back. It was a lovely day out there, everybody. It was so beautiful. And like I said before, that was not an exhaustive list of all LGBTQIA plus pioneers and trailblazers who has since who have since passed. However, I just want to highlight some of those individuals. So, also for the first day, we're going to light the first candle. And so the first candle in terms of Kwanzaa is typically lit in the center, but with Kuchu Kwanzaa, there is no information in terms of what order in terms of the light the candles. So I'm going to continue with the same method in Kwanzaa and want to light the first one, which is the center black one. Thank you all so much for joining in today with today's Kuchu Kwanzaa 2020 celebration with me, Gary the Rainbow. Tomorrow, I will be bringing you the next principle and another footage about how I'm going to celebrate. Please use the hashtag Kuchu Kwanzaa and Kuchu Kwanzaa 2020 when sharing on social media. Also, please go to kuchukwanzaa.com to learn more about Kuchu Kwanzaa, the history, the founders, and how to celebrate. Thank you all so much for joining in from today, December 26, 2020, on our joyous first day of Kuchu Kwanzaa. Joyous Kuchu Kwanzaa to all. Take care and Kibani.